Hi everyone, in this video we're going to talk about the canvas drawing element or object. It is located here in the shapes category, which is the second one down from the top, and it is called canvas drawing. Now this has been a highly requested feature because we have a lot of researchers who'd like to draw their own image to insert directly into their canvas frame, or to have a task where participants can draw an image in response to a prompt. So when you click Canvas Drawing, you're going to be prompted to choose a variable name. I'll call mine Draw1. After choosing a unique variable name, you see that you get this blank rectangle, and it kind of starts to populate as my computer loads. And the first thing you see is that I have a pen. So this is me drawing an image here to start with. So remember, anything you add to the canvas frame before the study is locked and published is going to be things that you as the researcher are adding to the study and providing as content for the participants to view. So if I make a drawing here, the participant will see it as an image. So let's talk about the object properties here. We have our usual object properties, and that video is linked here. Scrolling down, you can see that the canvas drawing becomes a linked variable, and it's going to get saved as a file. So this is very similar to taking a camera snapshot, and then an image is saved as a file in your private participant folder when you go into the Files tab. So here's my linked variable. Of course, I can rename it. We can show or hide this option here, so allow drawing by participants. Let's say that I'm doing a Gestalt type test, or maybe I'm doing a severed corpus callosum test, and I have drawn half an image on my end. So let's say I drew, this is my half of a house image, like so. It kind of looks like half of typically what American children draw when you think of a house. And let's say the participant's task is to finish the drawing. That would be great, because then I can do half and they can do half, and we can see how that goes for them. That is something that can be difficult for certain participant populations. Or we can click to uncheck the checkbox here, which means that they cannot draw. They will just see this as an image prompt. We can also show or hide the upper toolbar, which is going to disappear more of my tools here. You're always going to have a couple default tools selected, and we'll go over that in a second. But by showing this upper toolbar, I have lots of options here. So as you can see, I can change the color of my pen, I can change the size of the brush, I can change some of the shapes here. We also have text options. You are able to add text here. And again, we have some options for the lower toolbar. So that's going to be these shapes right here. So this slider here is changing the brush size. Right here where it says fill, that's going to be changing the color. And again, we can select or deselect this free drawing mode. So those are kind of our unique properties of the object. Going to these toolbars here, you can see that we can add shapes that are perfectly formed. Maybe this is better than my drawing of a house. So we can click and drag around the screen and add some images, which is super great. You notice that when I've added a shape, I can actually click on that shape and drag it around, kind of resize it, all of those good things. I can also change the border color in relation to the fill color. So let's say I wanted to add a purple border here, and let's make this a prettier color. There. So it looks kind of like a typical painting application on your device. We also have the eraser, and I can click and drag on the eraser, and this works like an actual eraser. So when you select it, it's not just going to delete that shape. You're actually going to click and hold and then drag to erase parts of your image. So you can see I've kind of erased some of my little triangle and my square, but not all of it. So again, that's the clicking and dragging here. Now let's talk about events related to the canvas drawing object. We're going to go over here in the Events tab, and we're going to add a frame event. We can just call this event 1, and let's say the trigger is going to be on frame start. We're going to go to Object Actions and set Object Property. Now, because the canvas drawing object is one of our standard objects with the same typical properties, we can select it here as our target, and we can change any of these properties as usual. So let's say we want to hide the visibility until they answer a certain question. We can do that with an if-then action. But as you can see, we can also change things like brush size, border color, any of these toolbar options that I explained previously. Those can be changed via an event. So let me show you how to do that here. So I set my trigger as on frame start. Let's add a control action, and we are going to say delayed action time callback. So let's say we don't want them to draw a picture right away. We can set a delay of 4,000 milliseconds or 4 seconds. And that's when we can say, let us make the visibility 1. That means that they can see it after 4 seconds. Or let's say they have to answer a question, or maybe after a certain amount of time, the colors start to change in the image. That would be very cool if you were doing sort of a detection task, where maybe over time the colors changed ever so slightly, and the participant would have to click a button when they noticed that the color was not the same as the original color. That would be a very cool psychology task. So those are going to be our events associated with the canvas drawing element. So there are lots of fun properties. I really encourage you to make a new study, add this to a frame, and just kind of play around with this because it is super fun, and I know it's been long awaited. So please enjoy this element, and I hope this video was helpful.